So if you think back to those three essential functions of schools that we mentioned earlier, to prepare our kids to be societally functional, to master the dominant information landscape of their time, to be economically productive, it's very clear that many schools in the States, in New Zealand, around the world, are still doing this. In other words, we're not really stepping up to the task of what it means to prepare kids for the 21st century. And the fundamental dilemma is this, and this is some data from the United States, but it's also equally applicable to New Zealand, which is that our school systems that we now have were designed in an era in which 3/4 of the jobs were in manufacturing and agriculture. But nowadays, those same structures, those same institutions, those same pedagogical paradigms are now operating in an era in which 3/4 of the jobs, at least in the developed world, are typically creative class and upper end service class type of professions. Those jobs that require those more 21st century non-routine abstract cognitive skills that we mentioned earlier. A very different skill set than before. And so the school systems that we have right now, where we take kids' individual uniquenesses and we shove them through the convergent funnel, and we say, we're going to judge all of you successful, whether or not you can spit back to us the right answer. The school systems that we have right now, where we take our infinite information landscape and we try to put a box around it, we try to shove a certain prescribed set of information into a container. We call it a standardized curriculum. And we say, if you master what's in this box, that you're going to be okay for the rest of your life. That the school systems that we have right now, where at least in the States, the research shows that about 80 to 85% of students' day-to-day classroom activity is low-level cognitive work. It's factual recall, it's routine procedural knowledge, it's the kind of stuff that you can find on Google in about half a second. And remember, of course, the economic value of low-level cognitive work. What we're finding is that these kinds of school systems, the one that we've had for a century or so, just isn't very well suited for the demands of a digital global era. This is a really nice classroom. It's neat, it's orderly, it's colorful, there's a little bit of technology in the room. The teacher is absolutely delighted because students are raising their hand and participating. But the bottom line is that the fundamental pedagogical paradigm of this classroom is the same as that of 1890. The teacher is the focal point of the room. The kids sit in rows and columns. They're primarily doing isolated seat work at their desks. Occasionally, somebody gets to go up and show their work at the chalkboard or smartboard. You get the idea. And so we've got this fundamental disconnect between the way schools operate these days and what's needed. So Clarence Fisher, he's a prominent education blogger, he says, while we teach whatever we're teaching at school, the kids are going home and learning many of the skills that they need to survive and prosper in this interconnected global economy. David Warlick, who's one of the most prominent education bloggers in the world, says, what can we say about our kids? They can read, they can do basic math, they can fill in bubble sheets for hours. No generation in history has ever been so thoroughly prepared for the industrial age.